We're back.
Do 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 do. Let me hit this button. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right. Well, you tell them what happened,
I believe that we were hacked.
folks.
I believe that we were hacked.
Folks, we're pretty sure that we were hacked. I mean, I don't know what to say.
That didn't happen in the first 2 episodes, period. Just saying.
Or Act 1.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So we're not going to accuse anybody of anything, okay? Hold on. Let me share this over. Get this going. Post. And the podcast will fix all this. All right. So here we go. Yeah, we're pretty sure we were hacked, and we're not accusing anybody of anything. But at the same time,
we won't speak publicly about it.
My firewall isn't the best in the world, so we're pretty sure that someone infiltrated our little discussion.
Those IT nerds
and shut us down.
Got us.
All right. So here we go. We were discussing. We were on the 30 for 30. We're talking Catholics versus convicts. So all right. So first of all, let me bring my map back up.
Oh geez.
All right. So here we are with the Ohio.
Maybe it's the map's fault that we got hacked because people were bored.
Here's the Ohio map, and I want you to see the circles. All right. You see all those black circles?
Shout out to the Canton Bulldogs.
Those are all different suburbs that I would consider to be affluent or well-to-do suburbs in regards to the fact that they don't have a reason to want to go anywhere else. Okay? So, for example, we got North Royalton, we got Brunswick, we got Strongsville, we got Medina, we got Brecksville, we got Solon, we got Cuyahoga Heights, we got Hudson. All right? These are all schools. Folks, hit share. Remember, hit share. We want as many people in on this discussion as possible.
We're back.
Those are all big school districts with lots of opportunity. They're affluent communities. You got Massillon, Jackson. Okay, you got all these school districts where kids don't look to go anywhere else. They Menor.
Nope.
I mean, look at Menor. Look what Menor did this year in Ohio high school football.
Shout out to Mitch Trubisky.
And it's one of those things, and this is just our opinion, but you have no reason to look elsewhere. You're born in Menor. You are handed a football or a soccer ball when you're a little kid, and you're a part of the Menor programs. Okay. As a result, that group of kids stays together throughout the course of the years, and they grow up together, and they play together the whole time. They're in their different leagues together, and you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of these groups are cyclical. Okay. I do not have any skin in this game. I don't have anybody that is in high school football. I have friends that all have kids in high school football. I mean, I'm at that age now where, yeah, you guys called me old earlier, but
you are
a lot of the folks that I went to school with all have kids that are now playing high school football. So It's like, okay. So when I approached this, I went and I supported Liberty Benton High School 2 weeks ago. My nephew, Tyler and Alex both play for Liberty Benton. Tyler's a senior. Alex is a freshman. Tyler played just about every play of the game in the state's semifinal. They played against Marion Local. Okay. Marion Local is like the big boy on the block in regards to divisions 6 and 7. They have won the state championship 9 out of the last 10 years. And the 1 year that they lost, they were still in the state championship game.
Do you call that a dynasty?
That's more than a dynasty. That required some investigation on my part. Okay. So I did my due diligence, and we went back and Josh and James, if you're listening out there, I don't see you are yet, but I needed some statistics, so I went back 5 years to compare public versus private in regards to what were the results. Okay. And it's amazing to me that the private schools have dominated in the Final Four per se, but there's certain public schools that are there every year, and it does require some looking into, right? So, for example, I went back to 2013. 7 of 28 of the 28 finalists, and when I say finalists, I'm talking Final Four, were private schools, and 2 of the 7 champs were private. In 2014, 11 of the 28 were private, and 4 of the 7 champs were private. In 2015, 8 of 28 were private schools, and 4 of 7 were champions were private. And then last year was the worst. Last year, 12 of 28 qualifiers were private schools.
So almost half.
And 6 out of 7 of the champions were private.
That's
so when I looked at this and the reaction that people gave me after the Hoban Barberton thing, I empathized with them, and I tried to understand, okay, they're coming right off of last year. And then I looked at this year. 4 of 28 were private, and only 1 of the state champions this year, Hoban, was private. And when you looked at the rest of the final qualifiers, Hoban was the only private school. The rest, though, when I started to look into it, it was the same names happening year after year after year after year after year. Minster, Marion Local, Kirtland, Cuyahoga Heights, Trotwood Madison, Coldwater, Steubenville, Fort Recovery. It was amazing to me because it was all the same. It was all the same names over and over and over and over again. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I went and I mapped it out. So I got my Ohio map back out, and I want to point something out here. It just didn't make sense to me.
Here we go with that map again. Look
at that cluster. Do you see that cluster right there? That is right off the Ohio border. That is by Wapakoneta, little south. You see that the yellow dot up above there is Lima. So just south of Lima, there's this district of schools. Okay, they're all in the same groups together. It is St. Mary's, Minster, Marion Local, Coldwater, St. Henry's, and Fort Recovery. Those 6 schools have accounted for Final Four appearances in all 5 of those years, and have accounted for 8 state championships.
Wow.
So the question is, is this really a public versus private thing, or is it based on demographics? Is it based on location? Okay. When we're talking about these public schools, where can they pull from? What are the rules, right? You talk about open enrollment. All right. I know to my understanding, from an open enrollment perspective, you can pull. Kids are allowed to attend schools in adjacent districts to where they live. Correct?
Correct.
So from that standpoint, they can't go across town. All right. So let's say that I'm in a smaller. Let's say I'm in a smaller grouping. Let's say I'm in Barberton, I'm in a Manchester, I'm in a Coventry, or I'm at Firestone, or I'm at East, or I'm at Bookdale. Any one of these schools, they don't have the options that a lot of folks have in those larger suburbs. Okay.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, those are the kids that look. Okay. Well, can I get into a private school and have a better option in terms of my sports, in terms of my education? Okay. So there's a lot of that demographic that comes into play. Now, in addition to that, if you take a look back to our map of the Northeast, sorry about this, but if you see those 3 red circles right in the middle?
Oh, man.
That is Hoban, St. V, and Walsh. Look how close they are in proximity. And if you look up above, up in the Cleveland area, you got St. Ed's and St. Ignatius, and they're literally almost right down the street from each other. Okay, so now you got all these private schools. They're all located right on top of each other, and they're pulling from the same areas that the same public schools are pulling from.
Right.
Okay, and there were some youth football coaches who contacted me last week, and they were upset that my thought process was that private schools don't recruit. Okay, well, let's get into the facts, Roddy. Roddy Voorhees, folks, did a fact-finding mission, and he called Hoban, he called St. V, and he called Walsh on the phone and talked to some of their staff members to try and get as much information as he could in order to get some facts to deal with these topics. So, Roddy, take it away.
All right. Well, we started with Hoban, your alma mater.
Yep.
Found out that the tuition cost $10,650.
What? Say that again.
$10,650.
I could get 2 cars for my kid for that.
Used cars.
$10,650.
$10,650.
I think it was like 2 or 3 when I went. Okay, and okay, go on.
But they do have several scholarships. They have the FACT scholarship for those who qualify, the Blessed Father, placement test, Holy Cross, the Knight, and then the endowed scholarship.
Okay.
All of which have different rules, I guess. You would have to look into those and fill out paperwork and then see if you qualify.
Okay.
They also have some grants, family plan, teacher grant, Ed Choice. They have the Alumni Legacy, the Diocesan, if that's how you pronounce it.
Diocesan.
Diocesan.
Mm-hmm.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
We looked at their busing. They do private. They do public, just basing on the public school in which you reside in. And then what got me is there were 453 female to 422 male.
Okay.
Students.
And Hoban actually got bumped to Division because they won the state championship 2 years in a row in Division III. So they got bumped to Division II and still won the state championship.
Correct.
All right. So what I'd like to do right now, we're gonna step off script, and we're gonna make a phone call here, and we're gonna see how this goes. We have a high school coach that we're gonna give a call to. This particular coach has had the opportunity to coach both at St. Vincent St. Mary High School and at Copley. So he has a unique perspective that he can offer us in regards to some of these disparities and some of the differences between public and private education in regards to athletics as well. So right now, we're going to go ahead and make this phone call. Hopefully he picks up. Let's see what we got here. We're going to call Willie.
Hey, Willie, we're calling. Please answer the phone.
You ready for your mic?
I am ready.
Is this Willie?
This is.
Willie, hi. This is Hank Forrester on 330 to go. You're live on the radio. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Hey, we've been toying around with this topic. We've been deciding on whether or not we were going to do it, and we had a nice opportunity to have some discussions with both some public and some private school folks in the last few weeks. I had a chance. I went to see Liberty Benton play Marion Local. My nephew attends there, so I got to see the public school experience, and then I went and saw Hoban play Winton Woods. Just to give you my background, I am a Hoban alumni, and I know you. He just laughed. He did. He just laughed. He did.
Just to kind of start the conversation off the right way, I've never lost a Hoban either as a coach or a player. Just so you know.
Willie, folks, to my understanding,
wow.
Willie, did you attend St. V as well?
No, I attended Copley.
Okay, you attended Copley, all right.
Shout out to the Indians.
And we go to Grace Church, so we're very familiar with a lot of folks from Copley. Okay, and it's funny because in my experience, I lost to Copley as a Hoban player. I lost to Copley that's how I ended my soccer career on the Copley High School field for the district championship. And there's a picture of me in the beacon on my knees because I missed a one-on-one with Robbie Hall back in the day. So yes, I'm very familiar with all Copley athletics. All right. So point being, the topic tonight is what we're talking about the disparity between high school athletes in regards to public versus private in regards to specifically Ohio high school football. And the interesting part is this year the statistics were drastically in favor of public schooling in regards to the results. Hoban was the only private school that was in any of the state championship games. The rest were all public. Where last year, 6 out of 7 winners were private schools in state championships. So when Hoban played Barberton, I had put something out on Facebook, and it touched off a firestorm. So I want to get your opinion as a coach, from a coach's perspective. You know, how do you view that thought in regards to public and private education, in regards to the athleticism that's available, whether it's recruited, you know, people keep accusing of that, versus the fact that I know these kids come in on grants and scholarships and, you know, they try to better their situation. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm actually no longer a coach. I coached for a number of years. I'm a Dan Borman guy. So the argument between public school or Catholic school or private school, it depends on the coach, okay? Yeah, I was in Dan Borman during the Copley days. I was a 2001 graduate, so we played in the Final Four. The year before that, we were undefeated all the way up until we played Justice Lakeland Orville. and as offensive line coach at St. V, we wade into the playoffs as well. The consistency there is Dan Borman himself. It's the coaching. Okay. So I take a look at that, and I look at those two situations, and, it is what it is. Dan Borman's got 2 championships before he retired, and Copley was a powerhouse for about 10 straight years. We were in the playoffs, regional champs, league champs, whatever, what have you. Is there an argument to be made? I don't really think so, because you got to look at a school like McKinley right now. So Camp McKinley, even though they didn't merge McKinley and Timken, you got to look at Dan Reardon coaching there now. He's an Ursuline guy. And he came down and he just built that program up to being a legitimate contender. They did run into a bit of a buzzsaw with St. Ed's in the first round of the playoffs, but they're a strong team, and they're going to continue to be a strong team.
Right.
You look at schools like Pick, who just recently won the championship versus Mentor. Mentor's another school that has been a powerhouse but has never won a championship. Pick being another school that was in the same boat, and they have an absolute stable of athletes coming out of there. Kind of shooting back down to Akron. You got schools like Boothville, who are kind of like local favorites. And then Firestone were, decent back in the day. They haven't really had a great squad, but they've put together some teams. I can't say one way or the other. And I hate the argument that private schools recruit.
Willie, it's very frustrating. And, I don't have a horse in this race. I'm well removed from Hoban. I'm no longer Catholic. And my daughter actually attends Firestone, and none of my kids play football. So I try to approach it as objectively as possible. And what I noticed, when you look at the larger suburban programs, they have a significant advantage on any kind of a city program just from the amount of athletes that are available, across their potential reach, especially a team like Mentor. Is Trevisano still coaching Mentor?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, I brought up coaching as well. My point with that was, when you have that kind of a pool that you can pull from with a large suburb like that versus the districts that are in a city, of course the kids that are in districts, even with open enrollment where you can only go side to side between the districts, those are all things that need to be taken into account, and especially the coaches. I mean, I grew up on the same street with Danny Borman. Sandy and Danny lived across the street, kitty corner from my parents. Before he even coached at St. V, I think he was coach at Copley at the time, before they even moved out to where the house LeBron currently lives in was their old place. I don't know where they're at now, but point being, I knew a lot of those families growing up because of my St. Sebastian's affiliation. So I don't know. I took a lot of flack for making the statement. All I said was go home and good job. And my office is in Barberton. My daytime office. So I mean, it's a hard topic to try and to explain it to people that are in that small community environment where this is their team, like a Manchester or like a Mogador or like a Barberton.
Yeah, my questioning is not necessarily private school versus public school. I'm gonna kind of sort of err on the lines of talking about resources, like suburban schools versus city schools.
Yep. Yeah.
That's another big argument that folks don't want to have. They don't want to have it in education. They don't want to have it in athletics. But it is an argument that is worth noting.
Just the demographics and the economics of it as well.
Demographics and economics, I mean, it is a factor. People don't want to talk about it because it's an ugly factor. It's an ugly factor in politics. It's an ugly factor here. But it is a true factor. I mean, so let's say a kid does want to go to maybe he's got the ability to do that. Isn't that what the American dream is? Using talents to better your position.
Yeah.
That's a story that was in Rocky. It's a story that was in, countless sports movies, countless great comeback stories of people that came from nothing and came to something. So I don't really understand why folks get bent out of shape from a kid that's using his talents and his abilities positively to correct that. Now, like I said, I played at a public school. I never lost the whole thing. We set down Tony Sutton in 2000 in the regional finals.
Yep.
That was a tough game. Played a number of other private schools, and I coached at a private school. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you play the game for a reason. I think, you know, the standings this year, 6 out of 7 being public schools, winning state championships across the state, says something.
Well, and it wasn't just that. The other 7 finalists were all public as well. You know.
It is what it is. You know, the fact of the matter is, can you build a program and does the program have some history and some culture? The culture is a bigger question. You know what I mean? St. V has a culture of winning. Hogan has a culture of winning. St. Ignatius up in Cleveland has a culture of winning. So does McKinley. So does Brookville, Copley. There's a number of schools, you know, that have the same culture. You know, you can go across any suburban district, you can go across any urban district, and find a school that, you know, has a culture of winning. And the question is, can you put a culture together and put a team together?
Right. Well, listen, Will, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your evening to share your thoughts with us. Go ahead and look us up on 330 to go, and it's on Facebook Live, and we also have a podcast as well. So it was very, very good radio to hear from you and what you had to say tonight.
Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, man. You take care.
Shout out to Willie. Thanks, Willie.
Well, that was our first big live interview for our neat little budding podcast here. So that was fun. That was pretty cool.
He shared a lot.
There were so many issues that he covered, right? We could go on for hours about it, but we just don't have that kind of time.
No, we don't.
But again, I'm going to encourage you to understand, folks, that these things are very cyclical. They're very cyclical.
They are.
All right. Well, once again, folks, we've had a lot of fun spending some time with you here tonight. I hope the information and opinions we've shared have been both entertaining and helpful. And please make sure you join us next time as we discuss fun things to do around town for New Year's, and as well as we're finally going to take on the State of the Browns.
And that will be next Wednesday.
It'll be next Wednesday night. But
7 p.m.
7 p.m. next Wednesday. Once again, it'll be New Year's in the State of the Browns. But until then, I don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense in being late. Say goodnight, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.
This podcast is a copyright of Moon Garden Media Limited.
Oh, this is a lot of peanut butter.
Shout out to the big man, Antonio. How's it going, brother? We miss you. We love you. Can't wait to see you.